Welcome to Discovering. Tonight we're on the boat with TNA Tackle and we're doing a little bit of musky fishing here in the UP.
Nice little muskie.
And I'm back in the woods with Shiitake Matt to talk mushrooms and plants.
So sit back and relax. It's Monday night and it's time for Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
Scrolling Facebook one day, I saw a video of a woman I know from high school catching a muskie. So of course I contacted Devin and made plans to join her and her boyfriend Todd for a day of muskie fishing and to talk about their muskie lure company. But unfortunately, Devin couldn't make it, so Todd brought his buddy Justin along.
I told her muskie fishing is just practice casting. That's all you're doing.
Washing baits.
Washing baits? So right now we're just going along the shoreline. There's weeds that come out here. So we're trying to hit the edges because some of the muskies, they'll sit right on the edge of structure and weeds and stuff and just waiting for their little prey to go by so they can fill their tum-tums. They're the biggest fish in the water. They'll eat anything. They'll eat a walleye, a bass, a bluegill, a perch. They'll eat ducks. I've seen them eat baby loons. Yeah, they'll eat pretty much anything that's in the water that they can get their teeth on. And their mouths are pretty full of teeth. They're all pointed backwards on the roof of their mouth. So once they get a hold of something, it's not gonna be coming out. Right now, we're just trying to pattern the fish. We have no idea what they're doing. I haven't been out fishing at all for a few weeks, so I don't know what's going on inside their little heads or where they're sitting. So we're gonna try a bunch of different, I don't know what's it called, approaches, and see if topwater works, slow retrieve works. That's one of the best things about one of these baits. I can fish it slower, faster, jig it up and down, whatever I want, but I just have to remember what I did that cast the moment we see a fish, and then hopefully we can repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it to put a fish in a big net. You try to change up your cast so it's not just a mundane straight retrieve. Because a lot of these fish have seen a lot of baits, and a lot of people just cast out and reel in, cast out, reel in. So if you can add some variance to it, such as like even just changing the speed that you reel mid-cast will sometimes trigger a strike if a fish is following it, and then as soon as you do that pulse retrieve, it attacks it. So then on the figure eight, always come in on a figure eight, every single cast, even if you don't see a fish. Because the fish, they have a lateral line going down them, and they have one of the most prominent lateral lines of all the fish. So they feel all types of different vibrations in the water, and it's a good way that they find prey, and then they can start seeing it once they track it down. But that's why we use a lot of baits that create a lot of noise or vibrations in the water. Like this bait, the blade clacks on the side of the head of it, and it creates a lot of noise in the water for the fish to follow. And they find it, they could be 20 yards away, but they'll find it because of how loud it is. Track it down. And my theory is, on the figure eight, is that once the bait changes directions in the figure eight, it can see it a lot better because it's not straight forward. They can't see straight forward very well. So as soon as it hits that side peripheral, they see it and they attack it before it gets away. That's my theory. It's not really my theory, it's probably other people's theory, and I stole it from them, but I couldn't remember who told me that. Probably someone smarter than me.
We weren't on the water too long, and right where Todd said the muskies would be, they were.
Oh, there's one. He just followed in. Not a big one, but I wonder if it's the same one. Which way did yours go? Yeah, that was probably him then. Yeah, hit right near the surface, and I missed it. That was a big muskie. That was probably about 40-ish. The whole thing was out of the water. Try it over that way, Justin, to the right. He was moving in that direction when he came out of the water. Still there? Yeah, kinda. There he goes. Yep. Ugh. There's a few fish over in this bay. It's just full of them. It's like we're at a rearing pond. Once you get a fish on, that adrenaline is insane.
And I guess we're talking muskie. I wish if someone would have told me in the beginning, just choose like 5-6 baits. Have confidence in those baits. Learn how to use the baits correctly. Anyone can throw baits out there and bring them back, but if you can correctly incorporate the right actions that those baits are supposed to have, you're gonna catch a lot more fish. And that's why I tried telling my buddies when they first start out, like, don't go out and, buy 1,000 baits. Buy like 6, one of like each variety, and learn how to use them correctly. All of them are tools. Don't use a screwdriver for a chisel. Use it for what it's designed for. That's my 2 cents.
I have a bait on that we don't even sell yet. I'm surprised it's working. I'm still working on making the right harness and all this other jazz. I got into making musky lures because I was sick of paying so much money for a musky bait. So I first started making the regular old bucktail, which is the most common bait for muskies. I had a bigger chatterbait style for muskies. There were some things wrong with it, so I wanted to make my own that had treble hooks, and it was bigger and made for musky fishing. So I made one for musky fishing, and then my friend wanted one because he thought it was awesome, and then his friend wanted one, and my other friend wanted one, and 10 people wanted one. And then all of a sudden, Ross's bait shop called me. Hey, can we get an order of those? And that's how it started. It really started getting big around 2018, 19-ish. And that's when we really took off, and just a lot of people started using our baits, and a lot of people started catching fish on them. So word of mouth got around, and all the retail stores wanted them. And I didn't really ever think it would be me in my basement cranking out 10,000, 20,000 baits a year, but me and Devin do a lot of work in the basement, and there's no way I'd be able to do this without her for the tackle company. There's absolutely zero chance I'd be able to do that. But she is the mastermind behind a lot of this stuff. Now the kids are starting to help out too, so that's cool. Yeah, Annalie makes up her own patterns and ties them, and Silas is usually our tail guy. This one was hard to do. I wanted to make like a chatterbait type thing, but I wanted to make it stronger, so I had to move the hole on the blade, and I wanted to make it louder, so I put points on the blade so it would be more of a direct contact on the head. But then you had to make the exact right size, otherwise it gets hung up on it, and it was just trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. Yeah, people think like making a musky bait, oh, you're done, all right, made a new one, it works fine. It takes time. It takes time to get it perfect. You want to have multiple people fish with it. You get all their input, and then you finally get it right after probably a few years sometimes. But the best thing, honestly, about owning a bait company for muskies is all the pictures we get in the videos sent to us from the customers when they catch a fish of a lifetime. It's awesome. You can just tell their smiles are genuine. We try to like show our appreciation back, especially with the videos and stuff with people that send us videos. Because we use them for promotion, so we'll send them some free merchandise as well. And we ask if we can use their videos. But yeah, the best part is the customers catching the fish and seeing those pictures. Well, should we speed ahead to the spot where we're not going to catch any fish?
Someone once said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results.
The fish at 10,000 casts.
We had action right away, and then it slowed down, way down.
We could have a contest who has the best fake bite. Oh, it's a pike. Who cares, huh? Things musky fishermen say. But that's what musky fishing is, though. You'll find a bite window and they will be active for 2 hours and then they disappear. They leave the lake, I swear. They take little helicopters and they leave. Musky hunting, it's not fishing. There's a magazine called Musky Hunter, and I think it's called that for a reason. You're hunting these fish. You're not sitting out there with a bobber and a soda pop and a sandwich. You're out there casting all day long, tracking a fish down. You know where 3 are, maybe 4. I think it took 3 years to catch my first muskie. The third muskie I ever caught was my biggest muskie. It was over 50 inches. I caught it at 1:30 a.m. Tried measuring in a rinky-dink john boat. That didn't work out, but it was a yard and a half. It was a yardstick plus another half one-ish. If I ever catch a 58-inch muskie, I will quit muskie fishing and sell my boat. That's on film, so I have to do it. Muskies are native to rivers and streams and whatnot, so they enjoy being in current. You can find them in current. They're usually positioned. Oh, there's one. Came up, smacked it. He's still right there. And that's muskie fishing. He came up so quick on it. It came up and then it just like tapped it with its nose. I wasn't expecting it because I was talking about current. So they sit in current and they position themselves facing upstream, waiting for bait to come. And this current out of here comes straight along this whole thing on this drop off, right from there. And there he was. And there he goes. And honestly, so far today this would be considered a good musky day of fishing, wouldn't it? We saw a ton of fish. This has been our combo whenever we fish in the boat together. Someone throws one underwater, one throws one on top water. It usually works out. He's stuck in weeds. Oh man, that was luck. Whew. Oh. And that's why we musky fish it. I don't know if you can see that. Get your fingers in there, squeeze underneath here. A lot of people make the mistake of putting their thumb over here, and as they open their mouth, you get that, which you don't want. Nice little muskie. Measure him out. It is exactly what he said, 36 right on the dot.
I didn't count how many casts it took to catch that first muskie, but it was a lot. Next, it was Justin's turn.
It's been 8 once. Didn't catch that fish though.
Big one. Got him. Now I got 8 twice.
Throughout the year, our forests are home to a variety of plants and mushrooms, most of which we associate with tasty. But some are sought after because of their medicinal qualities.
So this is the Ruschula. Some books will tell you that they're not edible. Ruschula medica, which is the one that makes people ill, is a European species. In North America, there have not been any that are documented to be poisonous yet out of a lot that have been tested. I don't eat them because they're crumbly, you know. That's not an appetizing texture for me. I just walk right by them. But I see them and I know that because they're here, there's a good chance that there's ghost pipe here. And that's what I see whenever I see them. Deer do love to eat them, so that's also that. Ghost pipe, or Monotropa uniflora, is not a fungi. It is a plant, but it definitely looks fungal in appearance. It's translucent, almost whitish, all the way up to a pink color, or almost even a red tone. As it matures, it will drop seeds like other flowers will. Interestingly enough, it doesn't offer pollen, but the bees still visit it, so that's kind of a cool thing. This is a very, very unique plant. It does not produce anything of its own. What I mean by that is it's parasitic, and it parasitizes or holds hostage both the mushroom and a tree. So we're in oak trees because it's summer, but this guy basically puts himself in between the mushroom and the tree and says, hey, in a very mafioso style, if you want to move resources to the tree, or the tree wants to give you sugar in exchange for those minerals or water, you got to go through me first, and I'm going to take a little bit off the top. What's really, really amazing about this plant is it's a very powerful pain reliever. It is a nervine. That is the same class painkiller as opiates. However, you cannot abuse it. So the way you get those attributes is to extract them from this plant. You harvest it. You want to take no more than 1 out of every 10 from a cluster. It is very susceptible to overharvest. And after you've harvested these, you're going to tincture them in the finest vodka, not Everclear, vodka, like an 80 proof, that you can. Smoother the better, because you're going to end up drinking it, right? So you take these, you put them in a jar, and I like to tincture everything for about a year. The color on it, the taste on it is just beautiful at 1 year. 6 months is kind of the minimum we work with, but 1 year is where we really like to be. So we take these guys, we tincture them. That means every 2 weeks we walk by that jar, give it a good shake. At the end, it'll be a bluish purple liquid, and all the medicinal attributes will be extracted from it. You can crush these up, you can chop them up, or you can just stick them in their whole. It's whatever your preference is. We basically chop them into smaller pieces. It works better for us. We feel like the extraction's better. You would take a 1 milligram dropper, which is just your standard little dropper, is 1 milligram, right? Consider that dropper, when it's completely full, a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale. Half that dropper would be a 5 out of 10 on the pain scale, right? And you kind of adjust as accordingly. There's a lot of websites that say, 40 drops or 38 drops or whatever, right? Don't count all that stuff. Just look at the dropper. 10 out of 10 is the whole dropper. It's going to give you a 4-hour relief of pain, similar to a Vicodin or a heroin-based pharmaceutical, but none of the side effects. No constipation, no machinery, and above all else, you can't abuse it. Whether you dry this plant and smoke it, whether you got 1 million pounds of it and you chopped it all up in powder and snorted it, whether you made bottles and bottles of extract and chugged it, you only get the same 4-hour pain relief window, 2 to 4 hours, right? Just like you would with anything else. So this is like the very best aspirin in the world, only it blocks much more significant pains. And I encourage you guys, if you have pain issues, and especially if you're dealing with opiate issues like the UP and everywhere else in the country is, to explore this as a potential alternative. Interestingly enough, this plant is also being used in trials for PTSD and anxiety. So while we cannot cultivate it, we can encourage old growth forests where it does grow and sustainable harvesting. So there's a whole lot more outside your back door than just edible mushrooms. And if you want to learn about some of it, give us a call here at Shiitake Creek.
A quick reminder, stop in at the William Anderson Sportsman's Club in Hermansville from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time on August 28th for the Trappers Convention sponsored by the UP Trappers District 3. There will be trapping demos for kids of all ages, trapping supplies, a fur buyer, lunch, and more. Young trappers will receive free trapping supplies to get them started. Find out more on the William Anderson Sportsman's Club Facebook page. To see you next week, right here on Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.